Boushall Middle School in Richmond, Virginia.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
With misbehavior rampant among its 700 mostly low-income students, and half of them scoring below basic on state tests, something had to be done.
Good morning.
Last fall, Virginia put Parke Land in charge. Recruited from the suburbs, he was one of 24 principals trained by the state to take over schools stuck at the bottom. Virginia calls these principals turnaround specialists.
It's not a huge mystery as to how to turn schools around. It's leadership, establishing a basic understanding of respect among all parties, and that includes students. And somebody had to do it. I mean, it's really, I don't want to say, one of the things I really don't want to sound like is a missionary. I do not want to sound like a missionary, but I have a mission.
You're not respecting me.
Within weeks, the mission was in doubt.
You know the right thing to do.
Many teachers, like Lois Smith, found it impossible to teach.
Excuse me. You're talking on my time.
Right now, these children don't have respect for themselves, so they're not going to have respect for me, and they're not going to have respect for their other classmates.
A lot of students don't pay attention in class because I don't think the teachers are putting forth effort to make us feel interested in class. If they had more activities and more fun things to do in class, 90% of us would be doing our work.
Within months, Boushall appeared to fall apart.
It was basically a fight every single day. It was fight after fight after fight. And I almost got caught up in a fight once. I was heading to my locker, and I heard somebody say, "Hit him!" And then I turned around, they were getting them serious faces, and I knew I had to get out of there.
Land was spending all his time putting out fires.
I can't stand failure. And it feels like failure is what it feels like. You folks are in charge of their behavior.
Land asked his teachers to come up with solutions.
You will be working to get their behavior back on track. The stopper is the team. What's the commitment?
I think a lot of us were not sure exactly what was going on.
English teacher Madieth Malone.
Many people voiced that they thought that a turnaround specialist was basically a person to come in and tell everybody what needs to be done and do it.
Yours is the first response.
I'm not sure if he really knew what he was getting into. I don't know if he realized what the inner city student was like.
As the slide continued, Land became increasingly uncomfortable. In late November, he put a stop to our filming. 4 months would go by before we'd get another look inside. In January, Virginia's turnaround specialists met in Charlottesville for 2 days of training.
The questions that I'd ask you to think about are...
Parke Land was there.
Now, it's fascinating because it's a very...
A fair amount of the time during some of the lectures, you looked as if you were somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm constantly thinking about Boushall.
Transformational change means...
I can tell you that. I'm constantly thinking about, okay, Boushall, Boushall, Boushall.
So you're here, but you're not here.
I'm here, and my spirit is back in Richmond.
When we left Boushall Middle School in late November, things seemed out of control. Principal Parke Land invited us back in early April to see whether anything had changed.
Come on, bro.
Let's go, girls. Let's go.
Let's go.
One difference was immediately obvious. Boushall was quiet.
I can focus more on my classes because I don't hear all the noise in the hallways and all the fights.
Hurry up, Miss Carter.
Teachers had agreed to monitor the hallways.
We reduced the fighting, not to the point where anybody feels that we're successful. The tendencies are there. But I think what you're seeing is more of a calmness.
Land also had started rewarding good behavior.
We had like 2 dances already, which was for the people who have not got a referral, and I think that helped people try to stay out of fights and all that.
I believe that kids respond to positive rewards. We're going to stroke our kids who do their homework, who don't cut class, and all the kinds of things that we know make kids successful in school.
All along, Land preached success.
Every morning, he's trying to shake somebody's hands and say good morning, trying to build our confidence up for the day.
He comes and visits our classroom. He sits down and gets into the lesson plan, and it really makes me feel good because I know that he cares.
And the teachers are teaching better because Mr. Land's constantly in my classes.
You can take your answers and fill them in.
When we were here at the beginning of the year, you kept having to say, excuse me, excuse me.
2x equals 10.
You didn't say that as much today.
X equals 10. Exactly. I changed some strategies in my classroom.
Land worked with struggling teachers like Lois Smith.
The children were having a big problem working by themselves. I put them in groups of 2. Why would you divide? They would try to work together because both are going to have the same grade. That worked. Very good, Leon. I'm willing to change if it works for the students.
What has not changed at Boushall is Land's management style.
Here is our mission: promote positive growth.
Rather than tell teachers what to do, he still seeks consensus.
You're much more effective when everybody is taking responsibility. We will never be where we need to be until everybody is looking for problems and trying to find solutions.
Our goals are to
All of us need to take responsibility, need to buy into the success of the school, but there are issues, there are instances where you need one person who says the buck stops here, and he needs to be that person.
We just need to restate that we're going to do the plan.
Let's move on, find a goal.
I don't think we need to have a committee meeting on everything. The changes that are taking place, I think, are taking place a lot slower this year. I would like to have been at this point 4 months ago.
Come on now.
Kiana, I'm gonna need you to take a seat.
Are we where I would like to be right now? No. It's a slower process, probably a slower process than I had originally wanted.
Page 87.
Now, Lois Smith, I guess the bottom line question is Boushall a better school today than it was when school started back in September?
That's a hard question to answer. And to be honest, I can't just say it's better. Some days it's better and some days it's not.
Are you having more good days than bad days?
They're about the same. I would say 50-50.
Kids are still being disrespectful, roaming the halls, talking about pimping and stuff like that.
It's nothing really changed. It's just fights have gone down.
If he really wanted to turn school around, he would make classes more interesting.
In order for him to be a turnaround specialist the way I understand turnaround specialists, he has to turn around the attitudes that teachers have. He has to turn around parents' attitudes. And he has to turn around the attitudes of the community as they perceive our school family. He has a lot of turning around to do.
In a sense, there's a turnaround going on here. There really is. But the term turnaround kind of connotes something dramatic, you know. But I don't know if it's so dramatic. I don't think it's going to be that dramatic. I think it's little victories that you win on a daily basis.
Parke Land, gradual turnaround specialist.
Gradual turnaround specialist. Maybe so. We'll see.
Please open your test document.
But a gradual turnaround may not be good enough to satisfy the state of Virginia, which is looking for passing scores on the state tests just around the corner.